We're going to talk a little bit about loot, rewards, and major changes. And guys, I'm not underemphasizing this. There's a change in here that's probably going to blow your mind. And I'll say it when your mind is supposed to be blown to make sure that it is in fact blown. But here we go. We got new titles for the season 2. It's probably the least excited thing I'm going to talk about today. New titles. So yes, you're going to get some interesting new titles. One known as The Real Deal. The other one, Junko Master. Of course, there are also ones attached to Gladiator and things like that, and Hero, Enterprising Hero being another one. So a lot of really cool titles linked to really cool, Goblin-esque things. I mean, look at this. The Cheetah Mate, interesting. Employee of the Month. That's right. You might suck at your real-life job because you play too much WoW, but hey, now you can finally be the Employee of the Month in WoW. That's right. So interesting stuff. Probably attached some quest lines here or something, or some grindy stuff that you'll have to do to become Employee of the Month, but some cool little titles, but more importantly, the Crest System and the changes that are being made to it. So this is how the crests are going to work. We're going to have Gilded Crests, Rune Crests, Carved Crests, and Weathered Crests. Now, they will be gotten from multiple sources. Now, this one right here, I'm a little bit questioning on, because, so you'll be able to get the highest level crests, right? Your Mythic, basically, gear crests from Mythic Liberation of Undermined, right? Mythic Rating, Mythic Keystone 8 and up keys, Delver's Gilded Stash at tier 11, and then Delver's Bounty, which are the bountiful delves, at tier 8. So, I mean, which do you think is going to be the most likely scenario for people to go chase these crests down? Are people going to do a Mythic plus 8, or would they rather do a bountiful delve at a tier 8? See, I thought Blizzard was going to address this problem, but I guess not. And the thing is, I understand not everyone's into Mythic Plus, and everyone's into rating, and this gives them a way to upgrade their gear. But to me, I mean, it's very obvious which of these is the easiest. Well, doing a plus 8 Bountiful Delve, of course. You'll be able to get your crests. Now, most likely, Bountiful Delves aren't available at all the time, and a tier 11 Delve I still think is easier than a plus 8 Mythic Plus, so you could do that too. But if you are somebody who really wants to push up as fast as you can, Mythic Plus is always going to be your best option. You can go through there quickly, and Mythic Rating if you're up for that. Now, moving down from there, Rune Crest will drop in Heroic Raid, Mythic Keystones 4 to 7, Delves tier 8 to 11, and then a Bountiful Delve if it's tier 6 and 7. That's not bad either. That'll be a really good one to do, especially early on if you're doing Heroic Rating. That'll be really good. Bountiful Delves are so random. They are random, but there's one every day at least, so you can get in there and do it and get some crests, and I think you should be doing that if you want to pump up your item level. Down from there, Carved, we're going to get weekly outdoor events, normal liberation of Undermined, Mythic Seasonal Dungeon, Mythic Keystones up to plus 3, Delves 6 to 7, and then Bountiful Delves if they're 4 and 5. And then last but not least here, we got Weathered Crest, repeatable outdoor events, Raid Finder Liberation, Heroic Season Dungeons, and Delves, tier 1 to 5, if they're not bountiful. If they're bountiful 4 and 5, then they'll give you a Carved Crest. So the Crest system is supposed to be more streamlined now. It's supposed to continue on. We're not going to get changes to the crests anymore. Hopefully we'll remember Gilded is the best, Runed, Carved, Weathered. That's how it's going to work from now on. Blizzard promised they're going to try to keep the naming system consistent. We'll see if they can stick to that. But besides that, we're also getting a completely new rating system. We are getting, basically, a Renown track for rating. Now, what is this? It's kind of like the new Narubar Palace questline that we kept doing every week, where it would buff us slightly every week, right? But this is now a constantly tracking, constantly growing, constantly throbbing Renown track. That's right. And I emphasize the throbbing at the end there, because rating can be painful. But now, no matter what you're doing, maybe you're killing the first 4 bosses for the first week, 5 bosses, you keep getting stuck on, you're going to keep getting stronger via this Renown track. Now, here's what's going to happen. For Renowns 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, and 19, you're going to get stacking, damage, and healing buffs every time you hit one of these levels. You'll also get a free chance at Augment Runes, Raid Skips, Raid Portals, Dinars, at Renown 17 and 19, those are gonna be used to purchase gear, specific gear slots that you need, which is great. I'm glad to see those back, and more utility. This is a completely new system. Basically, we got the the baby step system for this with Narubar Palace and the buffing thing, but this new Renown track is going to be the future of raiding in WoW. It looks like Blizzard, as if you remember, Ian Hazakosis talked about this in an interview. He said, we want to become a group here with raiding where we're no longer just nerfing raids into the ground, because it doesn't feel good to kill a boss after it's been nerfed. What we want to do is continually buff the players. That's how we want them to overcome the raids from now on. And Ian mentioned that, and this is what he was talking about. This is exactly what he was talking about. We got a little bit of an Arubar Palace, of the flavor of this in Arubar. This is what he's talking about now. Build it up and tear it down. Yeah. So, no matter what, as long as you're raiding, as long as you're trying, maybe you're in here, pugging with a bunch of degenerates every morning, every week you should be getting stronger, you should be getting better, and this should be the a good way to basically raid progress without getting stuck forever. Bigger, longer, and uncut. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Moving on to some other changes here. Season 2 Mythic Plus. This is mind-blowing, guys. This is mind-blowing. I didn't see this coming. Guess what? If you don't time a key, your key will no longer reduce the level of your keystone below 12 for the season. That's right. If you've pushed your key up, you no longer have to fear about pushing it any higher. These things will no longer go down. Keystones from Weekly Vault will not decay below level 12 once this achievement is reached. Keystones can still be lowered below level 12 by speaking to Lindora if you want to drop it. So there you go. Finally, a floor to your keystones. People can now push higher throughout the season, not fear that their keystone's going to get completely destroyed. Requirement, attain Mythic Plus rating of 2,850 during the War Within season to basically lock it in and not have to worry about this happening anymore once you've gone past a plus 12. Now for the affixes. They do want to change these up. They've talked about them a little bit, and we're going to get into some of them here. Basically, undefined enemy buffs. So we're going to be getting some Kiss Curses here. Undefined enemy buffs on Xal'atath's Bargain Affix and Xal'atath's Gift increase damage done by up to 50% and reduce damage taken by 100% for 20 seconds on all nearby enemies in combat. Okay, there's a little buff there, right? Enemy buff, you could get the buff maybe if you do it. Here's the new affix, Xal'atath's Bargain Pulsar. While in combat, Xal'atath summons pulsars that orbit players and replace Xal'atath's Bargain. This replaces Xal'atath's Bargain Oblivion 2. So what does this mean? They orbit players. Does that mean you got to kind of spread out? I would assume this is a spread out mechanic then. If you got little things orbiting you that you're not going to want to get hit by them. Damn, so a 12 is too hard for pugs. I don't know, but at least it won't go down anymore. Another one here, Xal'atath's Guile has been redesigned, now causes keystones above level 12 to increase health and damage of enemies by 12% per level instead of 10%. So they're making it a little bit harder to pump those keys up. Now, they're not going to punish you as much now, but they're also going to make it harder. So that's what that's telling you there. Xal'atath's Bargain Void Bound has been redesigned. Dark Prayer now has a 15-second cast time and grants all nearby enemies in combat Xal'atath's Gift when cast completes. No longer grants damage reduction while active. Okay, so that's good. You're not going to have to deal with, the damage reduction issue on the ads. They made it a little bit easier, basically. They nerfed this thing. And then here we got Potency of Xal'atath's Gift granted by Dark Prayer is based on the remaining shield percentage of the Void Emissary. So getting that shit down and getting it down quickly is going to be your best option there when it comes to making sure that the shield, I guess, percentage is less or more, whatever that means. But changes to the affix there, probably the biggest change here is the fact that keystones will no longer deplete when it gets down. Let's talk about, here. As I mentioned before, yes, an Undermined Feat of Strength achievement for Season 1 now. Each reward you with a Catalyst charge, allowing players an additional 3 charges in the War Within Season 2. So this is great. Every time you hit an achievement, whether it's attaining a Mythic rating of 2,000, achieving a 1,600 plus rating in PvP, or defeating a final raid boss on Heroic or Mythic, will now also grant you some extra pieces of gear, right? You're going to get yourself pick your tier set kind of thing. You're going to pick your tier set pieces and make sure that you fill it out. I like your festive hat. Thank you very much. In previous seasons, completing any of the 3 achievements would reward players with an item they could use to exchange for tier set armor. Now, instead of the item, each individual achievement will reward players with Catalyst charges, allowing players to convert and earn 3 total Catalyst charges. So yeah, there it is. You're no longer getting a piece to buy a piece. Instead, you're just converting one of your pieces of armor. Is that better? Maybe, because, a lot of times anyways, the gear you were wearing might have been better than the tier piece you could have gotten, and you would have had to upgrade it. So now you just convert your piece of tier. You convert your gear, which means you're just constantly making sure your item level's high, pumping that shit up, and then converting it to tier. That's the best way to do it.